ranked choice voting had never been done in our state. It had been done in other places and proven to be effective, but not here. Having to chair city council meetings, listening to the council members of really good intention struggle with how do you introduce a new style of voting to the voters. What we saw was a coming together of the community to educate, and what we saw was more enthusiasm, more people participating, and it really helped us set the course for all future campaigns being more civil discourse, and certainly making sure that whoever's elected is elected with more than 50% of the vote.
I have to tell you, I was really skeptical about this, and not understanding it fully, I actually came out against it. And so the more and more that I learned about ranked choice voting, the more and more I was impressed that it actually allows for a more democratic process and more of the will of the people to actually have an input in the outcome of an election. The most important thing is that in a democracy, it should be the will of the majority, and ranked choice voting allows that to actually happen.
There's a lot of sensitivity and paranoia around dividing the vote, and when ranked choice voting was implemented, it took away that anxiety among candidates, campaigns, and I hope, among the public to a large extent too. I am looking forward to more ranked choice voting elections. I think it's a very good system. I think what it does fundamentally need to change things is positive for elections, positive for voters, positive for communities.
Well, I think as a candidate running for mayor with ranked choice voting, I think basically everyone's in play in one way or another. It's not like the traditional mentality on the part of a voter where they just pick one and that's it. In this case, everyone's viable. In this election, I didn't avoid any voter, no matter their affiliation or their choice, their top choice anyway. And so I think it just encouraged the candidates to engage as many voters as possible, even voters they knew would not maybe make them their top choice. And I think it empowers the voter, and which I think this is what we want, right, in the broadest sense for our democracy.
If we can keep them about the issues, then the voters are better served, and the candidates are better served, and more people will want to run, and I think that's good.
One big change that was required was you have to talk to everybody. If you think about what most campaigns do, they establish a so-called path to victory, and you do that by identifying the people who are most likely to support you and most likely to vote. And with ranked choice voting, the universe expands dramatically. That I was listening to what people had to say, and that if I didn't agree with them or if I wanted to win their vote, I could find a different way to connect with them that wasn't a zero-sum game. People say, I've already committed to a different candidate, and you simply come back and say, well, this is ranked choice voting for the first time. Would you consider me for second or third position on your ballot? And it was always a very positive conversation.
So the reason that I support the reforms that I support, including ranked choice voting, is because I believe that it will help stimulate voter participation and voter turnout at the polls. I fundamentally believe that our democracy is best and our government is at its best when we have the most people possible, the most citizens participating in our electoral process. Ranked choice voting is one of the ways that I think we can increase participation because it is a much more voter-friendly way of conducting elections. And the city of Santa Fe, now that they've gone through an election, is a great resource for any other municipalities considering this, because they can talk about the steps that they took to make it successful here. The education campaign that they did, which I think is absolutely critical in any municipality, and they can talk to our office about what they need to be thinking about, how to draft a resolution, how do they need to structure the election, things like that.